Hello, everybody, and welcome to an all-new edition of the Team Venom Wrestling podcast. I'm your host this time, Rory Bailey, joined by my very, very, very good friend Connor and his brother Danny. How's it going, guys?
It's good. It's all right.
Sorry, Danny, I did you dirty.
Well, my name is Dirty Dantos after all, so...
That's true. This is our first one that we've all done together for wrestling. I think the last one was Mania. Was it Mania last year that we did the last podcast about?
Possibly.
Will have been. Or was it SummerSlam?
Oh no, yeah, you're right. We did a SummerSlam one. Yeah, we did do a SummerSlam one. So this first one we've done in about 4 or 5 months, something like that, which honestly felt longer. But lots of stuff's happened in that time with wrestling. Big news this week is Stephanie McMahon stepping down from a role as CEO and Vince going back onto the board of directors and the potential sale of the company. So what are your thoughts, guys?
I think that any time we decide to cover wrestling, something shits on it.
It's true.
Definitely. Hell in a Cell is a big proof of that.
Exactly, yeah. When we first, we're going to do a weekly WWE show first time, and then it was Seth versus
Hell in a Cell did us fucking dirty. Yeah.
we all started out as like, look what you fucking made us do.
Yeah.
In fact, I even had it, Danny. I don't know if you're aware of this. Our listeners won't be though, but I even had a phone conversation with the UK press guy from WWE, which me and Connor found hilarious. Where they basically said, "You're too negative now on us." Like, well, that's not our fault. That's your product.
Yeah. Well, look at how shit it was. Yeah.
My argument was, if you want us to talk positively about your shit, no matter how shit it is, you need to pay us, because that's not a review. That's an advertisement.
Yeah,
and needless to say, they stopped talking.
Yeah, they did.
They didn't like the truth.
No, it's pretty mental. I think for a while we were expecting something like this from Vince, but then I think everyone settled and we were like, oh, okay, maybe he is actually going to enjoy retirement, deal with the lawsuits away from everything, and just let the business be the business. And then he came out with a great big, muscly, wrinkly fuck you. And now we're dealing with the Saudi reports of it being allegedly sold to the Saudi Trust Fund, whatever it is, which have then come out to be false. And then now Nick Khan, the CEO of WWE, meeting with the Disney CEO and the ESPN CEO, not to mention Tony and Shadiq Khan also being interested in merging and getting another company on board to merge with them so that they could have a shared IP. It's strange. Triple H really isn't allowed to just let WWE get good again, is he?
No, it is weird. I mean, the Saudi thing, I'm in two minds about it, because like you guys were saying in the group chat about them owning Newcastle and Newcastle being all right.
Yeah, they've showed ambition with Newcastle. They're delivering, so they'd probably show the same ambition towards the WWE.
The thing
Personally, I wouldn't be that bothered by it if they did buy it.
A new owner, I think because even then, I was about to say, I think the only new owner that would affect the product would be Disney. But then look at all the channels they own that show the goriest shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't think
don't they own Fox now as well or something?
Yeah, they own Fox.
Well, the last Predator movie, Prey, was made by Disney.
That's what I mean. So
it's not a really good one as well. Right?
I don't think whoever buys WWE, obviously we're gonna have a new buyer at some point. I don't think they'll change the product. I think it'll be very much a case of WWE is very self-sustaining. They get multi-million.
By Panda Energy and Dixie Carter.
I don't think they could afford to buy a copy of WWE 2K22, let alone WWE. I think a new owner. I don't think they're going to change the product too much. I don't think they're going to change it at all. WWE is a proven commodity. It makes enough money. The deals they make with channels, of their run with what they on Raws on USA now, I believe.
Yes.
And SmackDown
Raw USA and SmackDown Fox. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're getting paid what? How ridiculous amounts for Raw and SmackDown to be on those. Yeah. So I think a new owner to come in, unless it is the Khans, which it's a 50-50 on whether he's going to just let it be its own thing and just profit from both sides, or if it's going to be a big fuck you. But if ESPN, Disney, Saudi, whatever, a corporation sort of thing buys it, I don't think anything changes. I think it'll be a case of, look, we own it now. Just don't use any racial slurs. Don't let Rick Ross come in and say motherfucker live on air. You can all just keep doing what you're doing, and then that'd be it. I think it will be huge news for Vince to actually sell up and officially be done. I wouldn't be surprised if a new owner buys it and then goes, "Oh, Vince, yes, fired, mate, because of your lawsuits. We don't need that," which would be nice. Be quite funny too. But I don't see. I mean, I could be incredibly wrong, but I don't see a huge change coming to WWE with a sale.
What if it's Donald Trump?
Again, even then, I don't see a huge change.
Other than half the roster refusing to work for him because politics.
Well, look
at this point, I think if they're not walking away from the contracts now, Vince is back. I don't think.
Well, yeah.
I think if anything, they'd be shaking Trump's hand compared to the devil.
Yeah. Literally, Bobby Lashley introduces him on Raw as the new owner of the Hurt Business. Just swings it back around to WrestleMania 23.
Oh, okay. I thought you was going to say Donald Trump comes out dressed like Colonel Sanders, and
yeah, he does. I was going to say that.
I was going to say that's
he comes out full Colonel Robert Parker sort of attire. Everyone's like, wait a minute. I say, wait a minute.
Crazy. There's no. In other news from around, we'll mention it because we all have shared love for him. Santino Marella making appearances on Impact and NWA.
Yeah, I'm glad that he's back into that he wants to do that sort of stuff again, because in the last few times he's appeared in anything pro wrestling related, it was just randomly either the comedy spot for the WWE every now and again, or an odd commentary job for various companies every now and again as well.
I think it was Rumble 2020, last one, wasn't it, when he was Santino?
Santino, yeah.
Yeah, I think we might get a Santino at the Rumble.
1 second entrance again,
which was brilliant, to be fair. But that was the thing, though. The reason why everyone loves Santino is that he knew his role. He's not one of the ones that have bitched and moaned about not being a world champion or anything like that, because you get that with certain people where they'll go out somewhere and there'll be a shoot video will come out and they'll be saying, oh, yeah, well, I should have been a lot higher up on the card, blah-de-blah-de-blah. But then there's guys like Santino that were ridiculously over and got over just by being themselves, being funny and letting the natural comedy come through with things. And
that's it. Just his entrance hits and you crack a smile, don't you? So
yeah.
And in fairness.
And that's the thing as well. When he first debuted, they gave him the Intercontinental
IC title. He got a pin over to Umaga.
Yeah,
from
and
the
his
crowd.
very first match. Yeah, and then he had that thing where he was teaming with Beth Phoenix, and then he was doing the honker meter. That's when his comedy started to come out more, and he got one of the longest reigns of the Intercontinental Championship. He's got to be top 10.
Probably was it for a comedy character. He was multi-time IC champion, multi-time US champion, tag champion.
Exactly, and the thing is, his first reign came when they were trying to push him initially seriously. And then he kept doing things that were hilarious, and they just let him run with that. And now he's got that goodwill thing of just it's brilliant, just throw him out whenever, and the crowd will react, which is awesome. And like I say, there's never been a point where I haven't seen anything from him saying, "Yo, yeah, Santino Marella is bitter about not winning the world title or anything," because he's not that sort of guy. He's just done his job, enjoyed it, and done it well, and everyone loves him for it.
That's the thing. He loves the business. He got to take a stunner from Austin.
Yeah,
he got to lock up with his snake and Mr. Socko. That's not a euphemism. In the Rumble,
yeah.
He last 2 in a Royal Rumble.
Yeah, He had his. Do you remember when they did the whole Rocky montage thing of him when he was going into the Elimination Chamber for the title and actually nearly won?
Yeah.
That was amazing. And the thing is, the crowd went that far. They'd done it that well that it got to the point where you could actually see them think the crowd were that far behind him that you could see that WWE would have to consider it at that point. But yeah, it's great.
It's fingers crossed we see him in the Rumble, because from what I've read, he isn't contracted anywhere. It's just a per appearance deal, which makes sense for the role he seems to have in both other promotions. I guess the other big thing to talk about in the wrestling world, let's be honest, everyone else is talking about it, we haven't had a chance. The Sammy and Bloodline story.
Yeah. Multi-layered thing to talk about there, though, because there's also the tag titles thing. Because I know when we spoke yesterday, I hadn't gotten around to watching SmackDown, but I've seen it since. And we were saying about how on Raw, Judgment Day became #1 contenders for the Raw Tag Team Championship. On SmackDown, Adam Pearce announced that they were going to do a tournament next week for the #1 contenders for the SmackDown tag titles. So they are splitting the tag titles up, or at least they're going to
acknowledging them as separate again.
Yeah, which is better. And then with Roman's title, I think the main thing with that is that they've gone for
we're gonna get the 2 nights at Mania.
Yes, they've got to.
We're gonna have WWE,
and
Universal, and
you know, there's a few ways they could go with Roman in the Rumble. The big rumor is The Rock at the moment, but
that's always a rumor with Rock. That's always been
says something, or until I actually hear that music on Raw or SmackDown, I'm not going to buy into the rumor.
No, and The Rock is from the second Roman won his first title. The Rock has always been a rumor. Yes. I know the rumors are heavy this year, but that also don't mean much in pro wrestling.
Well, yeah, they are, but it's one of those things where I think if they do have The Rock for one night, then the other night, I don't know whether I'd want to see Cody or Sammy in that spot. Or alternatively, no Rock, Sammy one night, Cody the other. Either way,
that'd be great. The thing is, as well, this Rumble, it's going to be missing a lot of people, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Johnny Gargano is injured. AJ Styles is injured. Seth Rollins is injured.
Although Seth said that he should be back in time for the Rumble.
Yeah. I don't think he'll be in the Rumble match.
No,
if he's in it, I don't think he'll be in it for long.
In theory, with something.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be in it for long. I think it'll be pop for Seth, and then either attacked on the ramp or very quickly eliminated from shenanigans, and just to sort of keep him safe. I could be wrong. Hope I'm wrong. We all love Seth. Shithouser in the Rumble. If he is fully fit for the Rumble, purely for his entrance, probably 1 or 2 entrant.
Yeah.
I'll be surprised.
Obviously, no Riddle, no Orton.
No Riddle, no Orton,
Not sure about Edge.
I'd
imagine Edge would do it.
It's got to be, do
you know what? We're going to get either Edge return at the Rumble to throw out Finn, or at the Rumble, we're going to get Edge versus Finn.
Because Edge versus Finn was rumoured for the Rumble already, wasn't it?
I don't know.
So that was one of the things that they were rumouring about 6 weeks ago, but then there's been no build to that. So unless they're going to hold off Edge versus Finn for Mania.
Or next. How many Raws have we got? Either
Edge and Beth versus
Rumble.
We've got 2 Raws till Rumble, so I wouldn't be shocked if we get Usos versus Judgment Day for the tag titles on one of those. Edge costs to Judgment, and then there's your instant build.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. We get Bray Wyatt and LA Knight in a Mountain Dew.
Lights out match.
Mountain Dew, lights out, yeah.
I hope it says, I hope during Bray's entrance when he's got the torch and been spooky, it just says Mountain Dew and the Titantron, like it did the Beyblade thing.
Elk crowd, let's go Beyblade.
Yeah.
Was that bright green Mountain Dew bottle for the lantern?
Yeah. Big Mountain Dew Titantron. Every time the camera pans to the crowd after a big move, it's just a load of place people for advertisement with Mountain Dew, just like.
They literally bring back the Thunderdome just for that match.
It's just Mountain Dew bottles.
Somebody else thinking about it.
Yeah. We are going to get Bray's first televised match. He had a match in Madison Square Garden against Jinder Mahal for some reason.
Yeah. He had one last
They
weekend
always do
as well,
shit for
didn't he?
MSG, don't they? It's their home.
Yeah.
Women's Rumble, it feels like there's no build.
No.
I understand you can't build to a Rumble
already.
You can't build to a Rumble without basically going, this person's winning.
Yeah.
Right. Look at any Rumble from the late 90s, like Attitude Era. The build was one person who was going to win it. It was never a shock.
You'd normally have one person that you'd think was going to win, and then you'd have 3 or 4 that could potentially win and would occasionally throw out a curveball. But most of the time, you were right in what you were like. You remember when they did the Austin McMahon one, where they were building for Austin to win, and then McMahon got the sneaky elimination to win the Rumble.
Yeah, but the second McMahon was in it.
I know, yeah, but I mean, it's like things like that where that like they were still building, and we still got Rock getting the Mania title. Sorry, Austin getting the Mania title shot that year. So it's like they still went with what they were going for. They just added a few extra steps, and yeah, this year I genuinely think there's probably about 10 different people that could win the Rumble.
Bianca Belair wins it as champion, goes for Charlotte.
Could do.
She trying to collect all the Infinity Stones of her Horsewomen Mania wins.
Yeah.
Part of me thinks
might be how they got Charlotte to the back. Oh, sorry, Danny.
Part of me thinks Rhea Ripley might win Rumble.
There's a good. There's a good chance of it. But I think the women's one seems more unpredictable right now. I think Rhea would probably be the favorite.
Yeah.
Because the whole thing with Ronda appears to be done. Her with the company appears to be done.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on
with
this one.
I'm not a huge fan of Ronda.
Although I reckon at Mania we'll probably get Ronda and Shayna winning.
Ronda Shayna would be good.
It would,
but at the same time, I kind of want Shayna to win the Rumble.
Yeah, I think they're gonna.
Good shot. Yeah.
Yeah, Shayna would be great to win it, but I think we'll probably get Ronda and Shayna winning the tag titles at Mania. I think that'll be what they go for them.
They've just been the tag titles.
I know. They can't though, can they? Because of everything that happened with Sasha and
they
Naomi
should though.
now.
I've said this. I've said this to Danny plenty of times, right? It doesn't work, in my opinion. The women's tag division doesn't work because there's no official tag teams.
They're all thrown together.
Thrown together, go for the tag titles, win or lose. Then they either have it for a bit or they're done as a team.
Right?
Can the women's tag titles off, introduce women's intercontinental.
Yeah.
And then you've got, you don't want Tegan Knox going for the world title. You don't see as women's champion yet. Cool. Put her in a feud for the women's intercontinental or women's big card, whatever they call it, right?
Call it TV championship. They haven't got one.
Yeah, whatever. That could be cross-branded, defended, whatever. Then you've got another one that someone can win. It's because, let's be honest, WWE can now book women's matches very well, women's feuds for titles, but they can't for the tag because who cares?
There's not, like you say, there's not that tactic. Like, take out Damage Control. Who else can you really give them to?
Damage Control, Toxic Attraction.
Yeah,
that's it.
NXT. Yeah,
that's it.
That's it. There's no tag teams to do the tag team matches with.
Even when they decided to put the tag titles out there the first time, and they did that Elimination Chamber match, you only had two actual tag teams in there, in Riot Squad and Iconics. That was it.
Exactly.
And neither of them won it.
Bailey and Sasha won it.
Yeah, Bailey and Sasha as a thrown together tag team because they hated each other going into it. They were feuding for like 6 months or something beforehand, and then that's where they went. But yeah,
I think when do we see Walter dropping the IC?
I think it's got to come before Mania because the rumor for him at Mania, this again, pinch of salt.
Brock in it, yeah.
Yeah, the Brock Gunther match being the rumored matchup. He's got to lose the Intercontinental title unless
he's got to go over Brock.
Yeah, and Brock wants to go for that belt.
Just have an altercation. It don't have to be Brock coming out randomly attacking Gunther because there'd be no point to it. And even though you could be like, oh, it's Brock, he'll attack anyone. I
think Brock will be in the Rumble.
It could be a case of Brock's in the Rumble.
That's all you need.
Gunter eliminates him, then Brock's got the vendetta.
Yeah.
Like McIntyre. Yeah.
Then you could have Brock flipping between Raw and SmackDown. He appears on Raw to go for Bobby.
Yeah.
And then you can have their blow off at Elimination Chamber if that's the one before Mania. Yeah. And then you go. Then he's on the flip side. He appears on SmackDown every now and then until after that, and he's going to be immortal. And then we get Brock Gunter IC Championship.
Yeah.
And Gunter takes the win.
That would be awesome. To be fair,
I would love to see a Gunter Brock match where Brock actually wants to go for it.
I do think that'd be a really good. And like the thing is with Brock, his character, the whole feud with Bobby that he's just had, just goes to show how easy it would be to build the Gunther one, because that whole feud came about with Brock being pissed off that at the beginning of the year he lost to Bobby. That was it, just because he lost to him, and that was because of Roman interfering. But he came back for Bobby because of the record being showing that Bobby's beat him and not the other way around. Because that's his character. He just doesn't like to fucking lose as a character. So him being eliminated by Gunther is perfect.
Although it kind of worries me. We finally get because you can have it where what I'd do, have it where it's more of a war of words. And for a while, it's a case of Brock goes for Gunter, but he takes out the rest of Imperium. Gunter gets out of the ring.
Yeah.
And then just sort of have that be the thing.
Yeah,
don't let them put hands on each other until you do the big separation angle where you've got all the security and all the roster. How it's a proper pulling each other apart. That little SmackDown logo appears in the corner. Oh, it's chaos here as we go off here. That shit, right?
Yeah, shit goes down.
But what I don't want to see is at Mania, Gunter chops the piss off Brock, and then Brock tries to knock him out like he did with Braun. Remember that? Braun kneed Brock in the head too hard, so Brock just twatted him. I don't want it to be boom, and then just you.
Brock's like, no.
Gunter's just like, bro, it's wrestling. Have you seen my matches? And Brock's like, no, I don't watch the thing. I just hurt people.
Just turn up.
But then again, it was like the Rumble when Keith Lee came out, and he's like, "Who the fuck? It's a big boy. I don't know who this is."
Yeah.
The US title, I like. Now, I really like it's on Austin Theory.
Yeah,
big fan of Austin Theory.
It's been given more airtime now, isn't it? Yeah.
Always have been. I'm not gonna lie. I preferred his gimmick before he changed it.
Okay.
The cocky heel. I think it was great. Now he's just angry.
Aggressive heel, yeah.
But I think his gimmick now would lend itself better to a Money in the Bank win if he wins it next year.
I think his
gimmick now represents like someone. It's like someone that's being picked on by the bigger people and has just snapped all of a sudden, isn't it? That's
but it's not small.
No, but do you know what I mean? Like he's being picked on and told he's a joke and all this shit, and something's finally just snapped in him, and he's just gone fucking mental.
See, the thing is, I'd like him to have both of these like gimmicks going on, but have it so he's Mr. Aggressive when he doesn't have the belt, and then his cocky knobhead selfies when he's a champion.
Yeah, which to be fair, he's sort of borderline there at the moment, isn't he? So,
all right,
I just wanted to go all in on it.
We're in January of 2023. Money in the Bank is taking place in England. We don't have to stay up till ridiculous o'clock to watch it. Fucking get in.
I know.
Right now.
just like Elimination
Chamber last battle year. For me.
Right now, I want you to give me a name. Not who would make sense to win it because of this feud, that feud,
just who's
champion, this champion. Just give me one name of someone you would love to see win Money in the Bank.
All right.
And successfully cash in.
Who's going first?
You can, Danny.
All right, I'll go for throw it out there. Mustafa Ali.
Fair enough. That's a good one.
Fucking hipster.
No, I think he deserves something. I really do.
I mean, I do agree.
Him or Ricochet would deserve something.
Character-wise, cashing in would be the only way Mustafa Ali could beat a world champion.
Yeah.
Just the way he's booked. Like, yeah, he's been getting booked better since Hunter, but like, he still loses.
Yeah, no, but
and then he defends his title and loses to Mansoor at SummerSlam in Saudi Arabia.
No, they didn't buy it, remember? They didn't buy it, so it won't matter.
Yeah, there's still time.
Yet.
It was bullshit all along.
Kieran Trippier wins the Rumble. Rory, who do you think?
If he doesn't get a Rumble win, I would absolutely love to see Sammy win it and cash in and win the world title. Because Sammy, I think someone who
I think he's long too far in to win title
reign. And prior to the Roman feud, this is a Money in the Bank cash-in would have been perfect for him. You know, like when they first did it with Daniel Bryan, when he wasn't viewed as a main guy, then he cashed in.
The way for that the only way I think that would make sense would be have Roman lose the WWE title to whoever at night one, retains the Universal against whoever night two,
and gets cashed in on.
Because the Money in the Bank is way after Mania.
Oh shit! Isn't it? Yeah. I was thinking it's the one before Mania.
Have him have the run. Roman keeps doing what he's doing, but just with the with the Universal.
Yeah,
you can have him lose because the thing is once he loses WWE, he's already lost, right? Doesn't matter. Have him lose his rematch if they want to do a rematch.
Yeah,
whatever. But then have him do the run, and then have him have some massive foe at, we'll say, SummerSlam, like a proper big match, not a spot match, not a nice to see this kind of match, but have like a Roman versus Bobby, Roman versus Cena, Roman versus Cena 2 at SummerSlam, Roman versus Orton, like someone huge, right? Have Roman, have it so that everybody's banned from ringside. No one can interfere. If they even come out, Roman loses title. Like, so it's just Roman. He beats whoever it is. He's fucked. Literally laid on the floor, leaning against the ropes on turnbuckle, holding the title. Sami Zayn's music hits and cashes in then.
Yeah.
Then you have the holy shit cash in. That would also work with like an Ali. It wouldn't have the pop, but it would be the same situation. And I think that would be the best way to take the title off the Universal off Roman, because then he's still, obviously, he was the Universal champion before WWE, so he holds the Universal for what? We'll see. When's Money in the Bank? July. Okay, so he holds the Universal for another 8 months-ish, whenever they decide to do something. Statistically, insane run, obviously. Insane title thing.
Which he's already at that point as well.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
He loses.
Anything else he does is just bonus now.
Exactly. He loses that. He can go away for a bit, take a break, a prolonged break, have him come back at some point, win one of them back, because let's be honest, he will. There's no point arguing about it.
He's probably just going to win the next Rumble, to be fair. He could win the 2024. That could be his time when he comes back. He comes back, wins it, done.
Yeah, probably. And I think that'd be the best way to do it.
Yeah. Takes the title off, never took it off him at SummerSlam, but a WrestleMania match.
I want to see Dominic Mysterio win it.
Yeah, nice.
I would love to see Dominic Mysterio win it.
We were on about this, weren't we? If he just cashed it on Ray's mask.
No, I want to cash it in successfully and become a world champion.
Yeah.
I want him to become a WWE champion. And then he could lose it in the first defense at like 2 weeks later, right? But then he could just go on this whole tirade of cashes it in, say he cashes it in at the start of Raw.
Yeah.
Wins it. The next night on Raw, he could come out and be like, I am the longest reigning WWE champion. That is a Mysterio.
Yeah. He literally just needs one night.
He did. Ray won it at the start of the show and lost it at the end. Because then, even after he does the mask versus mask thing and Ray retires, while he's heel, his whole thing can literally be fuck Ray.
Yeah.
Even after Ray retires, if he's still heel, it's I'm the best Mysterio.
It's getting the extra heat on him, isn't it?
As long as he beats Ray at Mania as a retirement, or whenever Ray retires and it's Dom who retires him, he can do the whole I'm the best Mysterio, and then that's an entire thing of itself.
You can't see it being anybody else for his final fight, can you? But his son.
It's not going to be anyone else.
No.
There's no way. I mean, unless, I don't know, get a necromancer. I can't see anybody really.
Yeah. Dom gets injured or something.
No, because then I think they'd just postpone it till SummerSlam.
Oh, fair enough.
Because if Ray wanted to retire like 4 years ago.
Yeah, and the only thing that kept him coming back was the potential for Dominic to be signed.
That's what I mean. If Ray wanted to retire 4 years ago and he's waited 4 years to retire, if Dom got injured for 4 months, he'd wait 4 months. Do you know what I mean? He knows how he wants to go out.
Yeah. And that seems to be exactly why they've split them up, to be perfectly honest.
I know Mania is a huge thing, but also would it not be more poetic? Because wasn't Ray's first pay-per-view SummerSlam against Kurt Angle?
Yeah.
SummerSlam would be a great place to go out then.
Yeah, well, but Ray's also had he's one of the few people that has had a successful string of Mania moments, isn't he, over the years? Cruiserweight Championship he won, World Heavyweight Championship, US Championship, Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, tag. Oh no, that was WrestleMania.
No, he went in with the tag, but he went in with the tag titles and beat Eddie. Remember when they were both champions?
Yeah,
WrestleMania 21. So to be fair, Ray's run at WrestleMania has been pretty awesome. One of the few, and but you wouldn't know, you wouldn't recall that without thinking about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get that.
But well, I think I just slipped up now because I said US Championship. He didn't win that until recently, so that's wrong. But he made JBL quit at WrestleMania as well, didn't he? That time.
Yeah.
So
that was the Intercontinental, wasn't it?
That was Intercontinental.
Wasn't that when he had the Joker makeup on?
Yes, but that's why I just thought US, because my brain was picturing JBL as US champion. Which I don't even think happened. I think that was on a video game.
I was going to say, I can think of JBL holding it on the game, but also,
that's what it is. That's what thrown me.
He must have been United States champion. United States champion.
Oh no, didn't he win it and lose it to Benoit?
He was US champion.
Yeah, and lost it to Benoit at Mania.
Yeah. Oh, was that MVP? I don't know. It all blends together. We'll take a quick break here for us. The audio listeners probably won't hear any different.
Okay.
Because we're all old men who need to piss. So we'll be right back after this pissy message. All right, welcome back. As I said, no different for you guys, but it is for us. So rumors. We'll do a couple of those before we talk about Mandy Rose's BAPs. WWE 2K23 is possibly all news and things. A trailer been held off until the Rumble.
Okay.
About right, isn't it?
So we could do a whole separate video of this, to be honest. But I'll ask one question while we've got the topic up. What's one legend you want to see on the game that hasn't been on for a little bit? That will realistically be on it, which is why I started saying it.
That breaks your head,
I actually would have expected that to come from Connor, but yeah, good one.
Jimmy Snooker.
Oh, we're going down that road, are we?
Well, he fucking did.
Marty Jannetty.
Yes, lad.
Managed by his stepdaughter. To be honest, for a few years we've lacked a couple of legends, like quite a few.
They've all sort of popped up on there, though, haven't they? Like the DLC for this one has been really extensive. Although, who I actually genuinely someone that I'd like to see on the next one is I'd like them to do a whole 97 Heart Foundation. I know for reasons they can't use Owen, but I'd like them to have
Pillman,
the main one that we haven't seen on a game for a while. And then also as an alternate attire so that we can have Hollywood Blondes on there too. That'd be great. I think the last time we would have seen him would have been 2K16, I think, because that was when they did the Austin showcase.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that had Pillman on there.
Do you remember when there was an NWO DLC for one of the earlier 2Ks and you got like Scott Steiner?
2K14. Yeah. Oh yeah, Steiner. Yeah. Yeah.
Ah. I wouldn't be surprised if we get the Steiner brothers, but like mullet Steiner.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'd be okay with that.
Then some crafty bastard would find out how to do another hair glitch like they did on 2K21. No, 2K20, sorry. There was no 2K21. It didn't exist.
There wasn't a classy bastard who did a hair glitch. It's just fucking glitched.
Well, you could. There was a certain item that you could turn transparent and put on wrestlers' heads to chop the hair off. Like, so you could get a Baldy Braun by default fire and things like that. It's great.
All right, here's a better question. Who would you want a showcase model?
Roman.
Pointless question for Danny because he couldn't even do the Ray one. You shit cunt.
Roman would make the most sense.
He couldn't do it. He physically couldn't.
For some reason, I just struggled. I couldn't get the maneuver right on something, and it was just.
Fair enough.
Oh, he's Spacker steps on it.
He gets more fucking time on it than I do. He fucking lives his life on it. Don't know. Good question.
Yeah, no, I think Roman would make the most sense for a showcase. Depending on if they can, get Daniel Bryan and Ryback in the game to do that.
The thing is, the Romans, because of obviously big releases through the few years, it would lose a lot. Despite the fact he was going to be DLC, they couldn't get RVD into it. They couldn't get Jushin Liger into it. Who, by the way, would be my answer for a legend to beat in the game.
Yeah.
I think for most people who you pick, there'll be a strong thing of, would they use them because X, Y, Z, they can't be in the game. But for me, I'd love to see an Edge one.
Yeah, that would be good.
Actually, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, there's not a lot of people that they couldn't use in Edge. Although the only problem is no Christian.
I think if they tried, they could probably get Christian on the game, to be honest.
Especially if Tony just bought WWE.
Yeah. But it's like
that fucking AEW thing's just not even. Well, does anyone even know when that Fight Forever game comes out? The AEW one.
I think
it's going straight to like Xbox thingy, isn't it?
I thought
it's going straight, but they said that in September, and it's still not on there. It's still not out at all at the moment. It's still on pre-order. But all the pre-order listings came out in September, and you could
February.
Is it now saying February? Because they were saying before, it's definitely going to be out before the end of 2022, and fucking wasn't.
Is there a roster thing? There isn't.
Not officially.
Roster reveals.
Unless they're trying to take CM Punk off the game, and that's why it's taking so long.
It's kind of concerning, though, isn't it? I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it looks terrible, but this is also coming from a guy who. The
pictures you sent me, it does look fucking basic as fuck.
It looks very arcadey, which if that's your thing, fair enough. But I'm also in the minority of someone who really disliked WWE All Stars.
Yeah, but
I understand I'm a minority for that. But if I play a wrestling game,
I don't like All Stars.
I like the immersion. I like the realism.
Yeah,
I like it to look good.
And to be fair, it's like with 2K22, I think it's really a good game, but I prefer 2K19 for the controls and for what the abilities you can give your guys in matches. 2K22, I think, it's got better modes, better graphics and stuff, but 2K19 for me was better at doing like what you're saying.
Yeah, I really liked 19
because it was like the thing of, I mean, I know I had certain wrestlers on the game like Austin, Randy Orton, Edge, a few others where I'd sorted it so that if they were in a rumble, they'd just fucking start RKOing people without specials because you could. Whereas now you could assign that in 2K22, but then you'd have to grab them first, and then you'd have to do a little fucking combo. Do you know what I mean?
I get that.
That's my only annoyance for 2K22, but I still actually really love the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, AEW's game, dog shit. That was the point we were going for, dog shit.
Yeah. In other wrestling news outside of the WWE, former WNXT UK wrestler Ginny has announced her retirement due to injury.
Oh no.
Is she still with Gunter? Do we know?
I don't know.
She was last time. I'm sure. Is it her? Could be anyone. Yeah, she. It's been more than a year since her last match because of injury, and yeah, she's announced her retirement. So all the best to her. And again, released WWE Mandy Rose has made $1 million since her release from then till before the new year on Fanzone. Getting about
in 1 month, literally in 1 month. That is mental, isn't it?
And they are not BAPs; they are traffic cones. We saw.
I don't know. Have you
seen the full one where they're just like flapping around, like
it was
like wayward seals.
Very disappointing.
It was. I was like, she got a 5 for the. What the fuck are they?
I ain't subscribing to that shit. Let's play them out. Them out on fucking street.
And one more bit of news going back to WWE. Triple H held a talent meeting prior to SmackDown. According to reports from PWI Insider and Fightful Select, Triple H led the meeting and focused on Vince McMahon's role in the company since returning. Levesque reiterated that McMahon is only spearheading efforts to determine if the company should be sold and who it should be sold to. He also squashed rumors that a sale was already a done deal and noted that if the company is sold, the process will be much longer. Levesque stressed that McMahon's return to the company does not impact the creative team or the creative process, although I would also mention that anything can change. He said that while him and Vince may have discussions about WWE creative, Vince always defers to him for the final say. We held a employee-only meeting last Friday. During the meeting, it was stressed that McMahon's return would not lead to changes in the company's day-to-day operations, the role of its management team, or unnecessary budget cuts, as were the pattern previously.
Cool. Well, that's good. Because that's the worrying thing about Vince going back is you think, fucking hell, what if he decides that, Hunter's brought all these guys back. Bye. Yeah.
Go on. Since this is our first actual wrestling proper podcast, it's worth knowing. Who has been your favourite Triple H return?
I thought Karrion Kross started really strong and then hasn't really done anything.
No, he's dipped down a bit, hasn't he?
I loved how he came back and I loved the repackaging of him and everything. And then it was just like, now he's just sort of there.
Yeah, but
probably still my favourite person to come back.
With someone like Kross, though, after Drew, like the only way is up sort of deal. So it would have to be go for a title, but then he returns, has a Drew feud, goes for a win title, loses that, momentum's killed. Right now he's stalking Ray, which I think is a good placeholder because you got to think they've got to keep. They've got
Rumble, might we?
They've got to keep Ray separate.
Kross.
Yeah, I mean, Kross could be a surprise Rumble win for all we know.
Yeah.
That might just be why he's been treading water. He's just going to shockingly win the Rumble and just surprise everyone, which sometimes happens. Like the year Shinsuke won, no one expected him to, and the year Sheamus won, no one expected that. Fucking Del Rio was a complete out of nowhere sort of jobby. So sometimes they do that, where they make it so that it's just they've picked someone and they're like, right, we're not making it fucking obvious that he's in line at all. Do you know what I mean? It could be that. Which if that's the case, Kross versus Roman at Mania, I'd actually be quite happy with that. So yeah.
I'd say my favourite return.
You're going to say Braun because you got that banger of a match with him and Omos.
Actually, I'm going to be a twat.
You did say it was match of the year.
I'm going to be a twat and do technicality. My favourite return since Triple H came back is LA Knight.
Yes, it's been brilliant.
Oh yeah, okay. I was thinking he hadn't returned, but then his return of his character, of course, yeah.
Well, like when we were saying when we were on the Christmas podcast, which everyone can check out on our YouTube channel, Team Venom Media. The repackaging of a load of the characters that Triple H has been doing has been brilliant. I love the way that he's made some certain characters seem more relevant. The Austin Theory repackaging's made him a bit more serious and making it so that fans can buy him as a credible threat more than 6 months before. Bobby Lashley has been made to look like an absolute beast again. And LA Knight's been LA Knight's been LA Knight, and it's great. So yeah, it's exactly why you go with that.
On the mic, it just reminds me of The Rock.
Yeah, he's got the same tones as well, which is hilarious.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the way he delivers lines, he's just got the exact same mannerisms.
If you were because this is a fun thing. I've had a few phone interviews with him over the years, and I met him in person because of the Impact stuff. Because
he's not going to shag you.
He gave me a free T-shirt, so I think I've got to put that out. It'll be funny. He gave me gifts. I think I have to let him.
So did you?
So what I was going to say is when I did the interviews with him and stuff, you could tell. Like there's parts where if you could tell he got the same sort of tones as The Rock. There's parts where if you weren't listening, you think, "Fucking hell, is that Dwayne?" Like that sort of thing. So yeah, he's great on the mic anyway. But yeah, LA Knight's always been a personal favourite of mine, and he physically handed me a free T-shirt. And I love bribery.
My stepson loves LA Knight.
We normally trash on these podcasts, but Tony Khan, if you are listening to this for whatever reason, I don't get why you would, but if you are and you want to send us free shit, we will stop badmouthing your game. Can't promise that we're going to keep badmouth. We're going to stop badmouthing Dynamite because it's shit, but we would make an effort to try if we got freebies.
Do you know what? My issue with Dynamite is, look, I'm not going to. They have some great matches. They've got some great talent on the roster. You can't have a roster that's big and not have great people signed to you, right? If Impact's roster was just as big, they'd have some quality people. They do have some quality in their small roster, Josh Alexander, for example. But there are some good matches. There's a few things that pop up on Twitter that I'll see and I'll go, "Oh shit, nice," right? However, if I sit down and try and watch AEW, I find myself not caring.
Yeah, same.
And it's not because I'm a WWE guy. Oh, he only likes. You can like many things at the same time. I just can't. When it first started, it was okay. It was a little iffy, but that was because obviously it just started.
New company, yeah.
Then it just
and I watched it every week, as Danny did.
Yeah.
But then it just got to a point where I was like,
it was just flatline.
I just don't care about these characters. I've seen these characters every week since AEW started, and I don't care. It's not pulling me in.
Yeah.
The crowd don't help either, do they?
The thing is, some of my favourite wrestlers are in AEW. I love Jericho. I love Bryan. I don't know if CM Punk's still there, but I love CM Punk. Obviously, no one knows if CM Punk's still there because of the whole fucking fight with the Elite thing. But it was like Bryan Danielson is one of like the most beloved wrestlers worldwide. I know, Connor, you're not that much of a fan of him and don't really care too much.
In fairness,
anymore.
The conversation we had in the group chat was about, like, you said his last run made you like really, really care about him, like as the character in that last run. Like, I know you liked it before, but you were saying how that last run was like.
No, I was saying
he's good. He's great. The whole Yes movement build into Mania, phenomenal. Some of the best story work and some of the best wrestling scenes. But he's not someone that I've personally been like, oh, I need to get a T-shirt of him. I need to find his figures. I really want him to win this belt. He was just a guy who was a good wrestler, who won belts, great with Kane. I respect him. It's great in the ring, but he's not a personal favourite.
Okay, fair enough. Well, yeah, Bryan and Punk and Jericho are three of my favourites of all time. They've been in my top 10, which always changes. But like changes order and stuff. But the thing is, with Bryan Danielson, we had that thing of the month before Mania when he had the triple threat match with Edge. The reason he got that triple threat match was that he made Roman tap out after the bell while the referee was down or whatever, and Edge screwed him, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So if Edge hadn't screwed him, Bryan should be the Universal Champion. So what my comparison was that WCW, they had Bret Hart who was screwed and didn't know what the fuck to do with him. And that's sort of the mistake that AEW have made with Daniel Bryan. That sort of level of, you've got someone who was one of the top guys in the company that was headlining WrestleMania, that they had on TV get screwed out of a belt and have enough credibility to be able to take a shot whenever he wanted at the title. I know ultimately he still lost to Roman like at Mania and on his way out. But that his last three featured matches were for the Universal Championship.
Yeah.
And then he goes into AEW and he has a draw with Omega straight away. And then loses to Hangman Page a few times, loses to this guy and the other, and now he's just some guy on the show. I know at the moment he's challenging MJF soon, but I think he's only challenging MJF for him to put MJF over.
Mm.
But like, I don't care about Bryan Danielson in AEW, and for me as a fan, that's a bad thing. And like Jericho, for example, with the Inner Circle and stuff, I thought that was great. And then they've been doing this Jericho Appreciation Society. Not interested. I've just lost interest completely in what Jericho does on TV. The Inner Circle stuff, there was times where that was ropey, but the fact that you had the former LAX, you had Sammy Guevara and Jake Hager all there, the combination of those five was great. But I just don't think it really hit its potential for that run either. And then they've just sort of gone down with this Jericho Appreciation Society. And then CM Punk, to be fair, CM Punk managed to win the AEW title. He had a string of really good matches against people, like various people that you wouldn't expect him to wrestle. But I still didn't care.
Mm.
I don't get why it is, but I absolutely love CM Punk. I don't know why I didn't care about his matches, even though he's having cracking matches. There's just something about the presentation. I don't know what it is. Something about the presentation and storytelling of AEW that just switches me off.
The thing about the Punk return as well, it always felt like it was just a countdown until he took his ball and went home.
Yeah.
And that's eventually just exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I think the only way we'll see him back in wrestling, I don't think it'll be AEW. All the people who he allegedly pissed off. Well, the thing is, all the people he allegedly pissed off with the backstage fight with the Elite are now reinstated back to their roles.
Yeah.
So there's no way he'll come back to that. I think the only way we'll see him again is if, it don't have to be Saudi, but if WWE want to throw him a fuck ton of money, and because his name is still being talked about in the wrestling world because of that AEW thing, he goes, you know what? Yeah, I'll sign a 1-year contract to appear at 5-6 pay-per-views as a big fuck you to Tony Khan, because he appears to be that guy. Do you know what I mean?
Tony Khan takes over after that.
But yeah, well, one thing I could see Punk doing, depending on who owns the company and stuff, one thing that I could definitely see happening, based on what Punk said he's wanted in the past, is if they went for, let's say he had a Rumble return. Let's say he's been quietly released from AEW because they've not said shit about whether he's there or not, have they, for months? And there was all the rumors that they were trying to buy out his contract. So if they have, and they haven't let it slip, CM Punk, I think because of what his desires and goals were for WWE, I could easily see him coming back, let's say number 25 or 26 in the Rumble, winning the thing, and going on to Mania to lose to Roman, but he gets a WrestleMania main event. Because that was his biggest gripe about WWE, is they never gave him the Mania main event. He was always mid-card when he was champion and all that sort of stuff. But if they came back, gave him a Rumble win, and he doesn't have to win the WrestleMania main event, and it's another name for Roman to beat. If they want to properly, you know what I mean? We know they want to properly establish Roman, and they have. But if they want to go next level and go, you know what, let's get some of the other fucking longest reigning champions for a while in and have Roman smash them too.
Do you know what I would love to see, though? And I will say this. I'm not a massive Punk fan. I loved him in WWE. I thought seeing him in AEW, the pop was great. I think as a wrestling fan, you watch his return, you'll get goosebumps regardless.
Yeah.
But then what happened in WWE for him to leave and be released? I know Vince sent the paperwork FedExed on his wedding, obviously a shitty move. But then the way he's acted at AEW, doesn't reflect well on him. But if he was to return for one more WWE run and he stayed fit through it, no injuries, I would love to see a CM Punk Kevin Owens match.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Love to see it. Fantasy booking. Look, we can do videos on fantasy booking for fucking hours on end. We can fucking do a video of fantasy booking our fucking WrestleMania at some point if we want to. But we'll circle around. Royal Rumble is approaching. We'll be doing prediction videos for that soon. Well, I say soon. It'll be a couple of days before. Saying that 28th.
Which is we've only got 2 weeks. Well, less than 2 weeks now.
Is it the 28th? That's the
yeah. Saturday.
Okay, well, either be before that.
The next week. Might as well be.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll a couple of days before that we'll do a prediction video. There's 4 women confirmed for the Rumble match, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 men confirmed for the men's Rumble match. I'm hoping we don't get a replay of either last year or the year before, where they practically announced every woman in the fucking.
They put a graphic up for the.
Yeah, I don't want that. I know every year we get people announcing themselves for the Rumbles. Do you remember back in the day when they did qualifiers?
They did one the other week. Ricochet won a qualifier, and then the following week, Rey Mysterio just said, "I'm going in the Royal Rumble, boss."
With my left knee.
Word for word.
Yeah. So the 4 women in the Women's Royal Rumble match at this time: Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Raquel Rodriguez.
Yeah.
The 7 men: Ricochet, Kofi Kingston, obviously, Seth Rollins, maybe, Bobby Lashley, Austin Theory, Gunther, and Rey Mysterio. I'm not going to talk about any of the Rumble matches because when we do our predictions, we'll be keeping track of the points, and we're going to go for. You get 3 guesses for surprise entrance for each one. No point us discussing it there because we'll be doing that in the previous show. Really excited to see what happens with a Triple H Rumble pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Especially now we know there's no Shane McMahon running it.
Yeah,
getting $828,000 just to turn up for Rumble.
Yeah, I don't think there's much more to talk about. Oh, Bo Dallas is Uncle Howdy.
Oh yeah, I mean,
you're welcome.
Yeah, same beard.
Yeah,
it is. It's
actually being confirmed now.
It's just like because the Uncle Howdy mask cuts across like with Batman style, and there's just that's just a spray painted Bo Dallas chin underneath there.
Bo Dallas has been backstage at Raw, and Uncle Howdy is appearing. So,
makes sense.
Yeah, fair enough. I haven't watched.
And also the beard.
Friday night yet, so
yeah,
he's not confirmed on SmackDown. I'm not breaking news to you. I'm just saying.
No. I haven't seen SmackDown this week yet, so
it's fair enough.
More watch for tonight.
Sunday, you pagan.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, we'll wrap it up.
We will. You're the host. You can say goodbye and shit.
Okay. Well, thank
goodbye
you all
and
for
shit.
listening. Please remember to like and subscribe if you're listening or viewing at the same time on YouTube. If you're listening via Spotify, iTunes, or any of those audio platforms that we've been bothered to put this out on, then please find us on YouTube and add the views, because that's the only way we can make money at this, which we haven't been able to do yet. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you all next week.